Hello, everyone. It's John Cash Philippi with Gaming and Leisure Voice. I am here with Jake Zwaagstra of Tricelta Development. Uh, really excited to be there. First thing I have to do is apologize to all of you. I'm in the middle of a move, so my background looks awful. Matter of fact, as you can tell, it looks like I'm holding up the pyramids with voice. Ah. So it looks crazy in here. But hey, it is what it is. Fortunately, we have a wonderful guest today, so it's going to be great. Jake is the owner and CEO of Tricelta Development. He is an owner representative, and he's going to educate us on what an owner representative is. Uh, I had what I thought was a really good knowledge of owner representation, and he schooled me really quickly on not being that smart. And I've opened a lot of casinos, and I thought I was, but apparently I had not as good an idea of what it was. But before we start all that, we are fortunate here on GNL Voice to have a couple sponsors, so let's talk to our first one. So without further ado, let's hear from our first sponsor. Agilicis delivers state-of-the-art software solutions and services that help casinos achieve high return hospitality by maximizing return on experience through interactions that make personal profitable. Agilicis will partner with you to implement the right hospitality solution for you, whether that is cloud or on-prem, best-of-breed point solution, or fully integrated ecosystem. Discover the power of high return hospitality and delight your guests, retain staff, and grow your margins. Visit agilicis.com for more information or to schedule an initial consultation. Welcome back. And Jake, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your company and yourself?
Sure. Um, First off, thank you for the time and thank you for having me on your program. Looking forward to this, having a open conversation um, and being able to just kind of talk to your audience and tell them a little bit about who we are and what we do. You know, my background, I literally started in Las Vegas. I got started working from early age as working for a large general contractor in town. And so that's kind of where I developed appreciation of why I do what I do. I love the tangible asset of seeing something of your work, changing on day-to-day basis. That's what brought me to development in the first place. In that first part of my career, I was really eager to learn everything about construction, and I worked my normal job with that general contractor, and then I jumped on crews, almost every day, 6 days a week for the next 2 years to learn all aspects of construction and development. Because I think there's no better way to know than do. So this kind of foundation really gave me unique insights into kind of project needs, but I wanted to see the different side of the coin. So I swapped over to the owner's rep side. And it took a different lens of, approaching development from a strategic perspective, really looking at the operational side, your background, obviously, Cash, the financial side, the guest experience, and how that all wraps into, a development. Founding Tricelta Development really was driven by passion for advocating for owners. I love that side of the space, and finding ways to really ensure that that vision of whenever they give me the back of the napkin sketch is held throughout the duration of a project, and those investments, large capital investments they put in, are really protected and optimized along the way, so the risk to the owner is minimized. So that was kind of the reason why we founded Tricelta. We thought there was a better way to do things, and wanted to take that experience really to a broader set of owners.
Well, that's fantastic. Now you live in Texas now, right?
I do. We're in Dallas, Texas.
That's that's great. I like Dallas. I've been there a couple times. I've had some really good stories we'll have to talk about online, offline. Because we can't talk about
Absolutely.
the show.
Anytime. We
Yeah.
can we can grab a beer next time you're in town.
But I mean, as far as owner reps, can you just talk a little bit more about what an owner rep is and what the role entails? Because
Absolutely.
I
That's a
think the
great
listeners do.
question. I get that question all the time. Sometimes we get lumped into different groups. We'll get lumped into, general contractor or just construction manager. But simply put, really, we're the advocates for the project owner. So our job is to manage the challenges and really maximize all decision points for our owners in relation, specifically budget, schedule, and quality, but then risk and all the other parts and pieces that come into a project. So as acting as an extension of the owner, we assemble the teams, we coordinate with those teams. We're doing these iterative processes of evaluating design and decision points, and really aligning those with the project goals and vision that has been outlined. So um, our role mitigates risk. That's what owners rep do. We put pieces in place to mitigate risk, to make sure that we're efficient in approach. We hold individuals accountable on those teams, and our job is to really partner with those owners to ensure that their voice is not lost in that process, because it is a long, drawn out process. Some of these developments, and we want to ensure that there's alignment throughout the project to make sure that their risk is taken into account, their voice is heard, and ultimately they get the project and product that they're looking for.
Now, when we talked earlier, you told me that you really kind of specialize in tribal casinos and properties and really getting them off the ground. And I worked for a lot of tribes, and I have a lot of friends who work in tribes, and I know that not only handling commercial owners, you usually deal with the board of directors. And when you deal with the board of directors, you're dealing with one board. When you deal with tribes, you deal with like 14 boards.
Yeah.
It's like you got one board and then you got like four other boards because the different groups within the tribe. Hey, that's got to be absolutely crazy. Can you give me some of your experience in doing that? And because that's got to be something unique.
So we've worked for tribes over the last decade or so. Um, and while the development, the sticks and bricks portion of the project is similar in nature to, say, a commercial development, the differences really lie in kind of navigating the independent needs and structure of each sovereign nation. Because each group is truly a sovereign nation. So, overall, tribes as a whole are a kind and collaborative community. Our full service model really aligns with their goals and the longer term legacy and duration that they take in relation to developments than, say, maybe a commercial client. Um, so that alignment of quality and legacy, I think, aligns really well with our company. And so we focus on making sure that that voice and that alignment is seen through all points of development. Um, it is unique. It is a unique structure. It's taken us a long time to develop the trusts within the tribal nations that we partner with, and we hope that sector and group is a long term partner in Tricelta Development's growth.
No, that's great. I mean, I love the fact that your design points out just creating a single point of alignment to bring everybody together. I think that's great. And you're obviously very good at it.
Thank
Um,
you.
the being involved in a lot of openings, like I have, and a lot of the operators who watch this show have been in before. When you're involved in openings, the one thing that's really key to all of it is time.
Mhm.
I know that in the opening, if you can open yesterday, you're opening yesterday. If you can open when you the date is set, that's the date. If you can open a month early, that's the date. If you can open anytime early, because time is precious. If you're not open, you're not making money. And if you can open anytime, that's the date. So time is everything to an opening. Sometimes just a legal reason. You have to open on that date. Can you go into a little bit of Tricelta's developments, how you help with either hitting the date or even improving on the date?
Great. Yes, there's lots of different strategies we put in place. First strategy, obviously, early engagement is key. So when our teams are involved from the start, we really are able to set realistic timelines and milestones to establish that on a project and really bring the right voices in, specifically the operational voices, to make sure that we all understand what that lift looks like. So some examples, say for instance, when we're opening a project, when we're opening a brand new hotel, we do our best to work alongside those operators to kind of streamline that process. Like an example would be, so, excuse me, supporting the rooms with like bag in the box systems. Um, some folks are familiar with that term, some aren't, but we will individually take each room type and each room and populate all the soft goods, everything needed for the operators to run that room, and we will individually deliver those to each room to make it easier on the operator, make it more efficient on the operator. So when they walk in the room, they can deploy everything that's needed in relation to being efficient in cleaning that room, deploying that room, getting it ready for a guest, um, and that we take that to the nth extreme. We'll work with the housekeeping teams, we'll work with the food and beverage teams to make sure they have all of their parts and pieces that are deployed so that they are successful day one. Another way that we do that, or I think is unique in how we approach every project, is we make sure we align with the each operator to see when they're onboarding their staff and making sure that we align our trainings of individual support systems in the building with those onboardings, because the last thing you want is have a staff that doesn't know how to work their building. It doesn't make them efficient, doesn't make the building work as efficient as possible. So we'll onboard that and align that with hiring schedules, and then make sure that those trainings are recorded so that as properties evolve and as people move on or move up, they have that piece to make whoever steps into that role really uh, have the ability to be successful day one with those type of training. So those are two kind of examples of how we align and try and save time on the project, and make sure that not only in the development cycle but in the operational turnover cycle, that those teams really feel like they're part of that process and they have that voice, from the early offsets of informing what needs to go in the room to deploying that in real time. Um, it's We can't ever get any more time back, and I think we do a very good job of establishing opportunities to save time in various avenues of how we look at a project and how we make recommendations on how to our owners.
Well, I like that you actually take and not only you kind of package something that can be passed down and
Yeah,
trained and handed off, which is unique because a lot of people don't. They just kind of continue to train and train and train and chase their
yeah,
tail. That's great. Now it's obvious because of that type of stuff that you avoid a lot of landmines in these builds,
yeah,
and you do all that, and and we also know along with time, cash is king.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I like saying cash is king. Sorry.
Took me a
But
second to catch up on that one.
yes. But ROI is everything as well. And I mean, Tricelta obviously is something they pay for, but you want to create an ROI for a company coming in and saying, "Oh, I'm going to pay for Tricelta. What's the value?" And so, could you tell everyone the value of or the ROI for bringing a company in like Tricelta?
Sure. So from our perspective, we are incredibly efficient with the resources that we have, and so we've proven on the projects that we've had that um, the ROI typically is a 2 to 4x return on the investment of the fee that's relayed throughout the duration of the project. Um, when you take that into account, with that early engagement, we understand, right? All projects and budgets are stretched, and so we find ways to drive that return by doing things like we have strategies to be able to accelerate project timelines, um, and we do that very strategically with our partners in various aspects of the project to make sure that those timelines are held. And a quicker timeline means additional revenue and additional EBITDA in the door, especially in gaming. It's crucial. Um, an example of that, we had a project where we had a client that had an expectation of 36 months for completion of a larger project, and utilizing the strategies we put in place and some of the pieces, we were able to knock that timeline down to 24 months of actual construction. Which, if you
Wow.
take that 12 months worth of EBITDA, that's a lot of money, right to the bottom line of the owner. So, we do that through timelines that naturally has, a return. We also do that through budget efficiencies, looking at cost saving opportunities, looking at technology in relation to projects to see where we could be efficient in relation to staffing and being able to save headcount, down the line. All owners love that in finding ways to make an operation run efficiently, um, while not losing that touch of hospitality and that person to person relationship. That other piece is risk management. We have risk pieces put in place where, say, for instance, we negotiate extended maintenance agreements on the project, right? Those are true savings that owners aren't going to engage on operational budgets. And so those type of pieces add up. When you add all these different, strategies in, it really allows for a lot of opportunity for value to be put to the bottom line. So, if owners allow us to act in their interest and really follow that guidance, those efforts are, we drive a measurable value to their bottom line. And it really makes a compelling choice to choose us early on because their risk is mitigated. They have that voice, and we pay for ourselves in the project. It's a great, great setup for owners that are educated.
That's fantastic. I mean, absolutely fantastic. Just shortening the timeline and mitigating the risk. You
Yeah,
obviously pay for yourself
we
over.
do.
Yeah,
But it's tough at times, right? When early parts of projects and you maybe don't have a full budget approved, we'll work with owners, we'll partner with owners and say, what, we'll do a phased approach and bring in just the resources needed to get you the information. And then when their funding maybe is fully approved, then we fully, turn on and let the team go in relation to managing that process. But we try to be flexible. We really try to be empathetic to our owners and say, how can we be thoughtful in approach that takes all avenues into account and ultimately, allow us to plug in as early as possible.
Jake, we have to pause for another
Sure.
quick break. We're fortunate here on GNL Voice to have a couple sponsors, so we're going to take a quick, short break to have our second sponsor come on, and hopefully everybody doesn't mind the pause because you're so intriguing to talk to. So everybody, hey, here's our second sponsor. With over 50 years of global experience, BPOS delivers comprehensive point-of-sale solutions tailored for casinos, powered by a robust enterprise platform with all the integrations you need, from player rewards, PMS, and camera systems to business intelligence and more. BPOS seamlessly connects your operations. Our solutions cover point-of-sale systems, online ordering, self-serve kiosk, mobile ordering, pay-at-table options, QR code ordering, KDS, inventory management, enterprise reporting, and beyond. Backed by exceptional US-based customer service and support, we ensure your casino's operations run smoothly and efficiently. Welcome back. As you all know, we were talking with Jake Zwaagstra with Tricelta Development. Jake, are there any project delivery methods that that you would recommend? Because I've done project delivery methods that are historically bad. I've been involved in some really awful ones. I've been involved in some good ones too, but I've seen some that are just awful. Do you have any that you recommend? I mean, any design builds that you think would be great?
You just hit the nail on the head. Design build, in my opinion, is the best project method for hospitality, gaming, mixed use developments. We are very strong proponents of design build. In fact, I did an article the other day, and one of the pieces that I thought was resonated was by 2026, over 47% of projects will move to this deliverable. It is such a powerful deliverable that, for those that aren't familiar with design build, let me take a step back. So a typical project in his historical project has been a design bid build, where you design the project, you bid it out, and you go to build the project. So that looks like an owner sitting down with an architect, running through the duration of design of schematics and design development and construction documents, and then going and taking that project out and bidding that project to the market. Um, I don't know about you, Cash, but every time I've done something in my house, commercially, otherwise, construction costs don't go down, right? So time does matter. When you go through a project and you don't get what you're looking for, you now have to value engineer your project. You have to bring
I
solutions to
hate
that to
that
bring those
term.
budget back in. And operators can't stand value engineering because it means at times they may be getting less than what they're looking for. So we take a very different approach. With the design build, we structure it, the project, so that number one, time being, the most important thing on these builds because of the revenue drivers of casinos and hotel and hospitality projects, um, is key. So we partner the architect and contractor early on these projects. They are one voice. So anytime we have a presentation to an owner, that voice is represented by one group. And so those evaluations of design and budgeting is iterative through the design build process and allows for the owner to make decisions in real time to capture value through that process and ultimately gain time in the process because they're not having to wait for a full set of drawings to be released. They can start with some early package pieces of and then follow on with the other parts and packages of design, to be efficient with time and get in the ground quicker. Um, it the design build process also allows for risks to truly be mitigated on behalf of the owner if it's structured the right way. Um, it minimizes delays. It allows early budgeting. Really identifies issues before they escalate to problems, and ultimately does not mitigate the program and the requirements and the vision of the owner as much as a typical design bid build deliverable would.
Oh, that's great. Everyone, design build. Remember.
Design build.
Okay. So what are some important skills that, that the owner's reps should have?
So when I talk to folks about background and how our backgrounds influence how we make decisions, um, what's unique about our company is the folks that work within Tricelta have a unique view, and they have different lenses that they see the project through. First lens is an owner, right? Everyone needs to be able to see the project through an owner, see the challenges and the pieces that they're dealing with, and make sure we're empathetic on that front. Number two is investor. Almost all owners have some basis of investment or folks that they need to answer to, and so we need to be open to the investor eye. And luckily, a lot of the times in my time in Vegas and those projects I worked on, we got a real interesting engagement in relation to owner because the owners we worked for were also the investors and the banks. So we got a unique perspective in relation to the investor and also the banker, right? I mentioned, we've worked directly for banks. We understand and see their avenue of how they look at a project and how their risk is mitigated and how being on time and predictable is important, not only on the front of the project, during the project, and finishing. Um, we worked a lot with properties where we have that CFO lens, right? We see the operational costs, we see the drivers that are setting the level of standard of service on these properties, and so having that CFO lens helps us be able to take a look at and say, hey, what efficiencies can we find without impacting that service? And ultimately, we take the lens of obviously our guests and our operational staff. They're the ones that actually deliver that service to create that experience where that guest says, I'm going to come back to this property and get that repeat business, which is what everyone is looking for, right? Get a happy customer and they say, you know what, I'm coming back. I had a great experience. So in having those different lenses, there's some key pieces. Leadership and collaboration are key. Strong communication is essential. And on all projects, there's challenges that come up. And so critical problem solving skills are absolutely like a must on any project. You have to be able to address things on the fly. You have to be able to do it politically, and you have to be able to address opportunities in real time. So being able to tap into those diverse experiences and have experienced, owners, reps, and operators really adds a true immense value to a project because you're not just getting a typical construction lens. That's what most people think. Oh, you manage construction. You manage a whole lot more than just construction. We manage the entire process and see all parts of the team in real time. It's truly a unique skill set. And, when we're hiring, we're making sure that we have those different lenses captured either through individuals or through a broad team perspective to make sure those pieces are brought to the table in a timely manner and everyone's input is taken into account.
I mean, you obviously have got your work cut out for you at every project because it sounds like you have a lot of bases to cover. Um, this has been eye-opening for me, I'm sure for a lot of the audience. And Jake, it's been fantastic having you on the show. Do you have any closing thoughts for all of us?
First off, again, thank you, Cash. I really appreciate the time, the ability to talk to your audience and inform, what owner's rep is and hopefully provide an avenue where we can service some of the clientele they're listening to this. I'd say first and foremost, don't underestimate the value of bringing an experienced owner's rep to the table. While budgets can be tight, having an advocate on your behalf is invaluable to protect your investment and what you're looking to do. We have this on our website. We say we don't just manage spaces, we shape the future. And our goal is we're there to future proof not only what you're doing today, but what you're doing tomorrow. So we don't just manage projects, we really become partners in your success, making sure that is aligned and your vision, is aligned with what you're looking to do. And that we don't cut off our nose to spite our face in this phase, and not think about the next phase. So, if you're in the hospitality, gaming, mixed use spaces, or even tribal spaces, we'd love to find ways to be able to explore and deliver value to your next project. Whether it's tight timelines, budget challenges, navigating complex regulations or political environments, we have that experience and that vision to be able to help make your project a success together. So, I say this to folks all the time, press the easy button, get us involved early and allow us to take a lot of those headaches off your plates. But ultimately, give us a ring. We'd love to be able to talk through your projects and be able to educate in the process how we can how we can help and be partners on a project.
Yeah, I personally like the easy button. I'm good with
Yeah,
that. The easy button is my favorite button ever.
me too. Me too.
All right. Well, everyone, we've been talking to Jake Zwaagstra with Tricelta Development. Uh, Jake, it's been great having you on the show, everyone. Uh, Thank you for showing up and listening to GNL Voice. I'm John Cash Philippi. Until next time, have a great day.